morning and welcome. My name's Connor. I'm sitting here right outside the back door of my homestead in West Palm Beach, Florida. Today is January 1st, 2019, and I figured today would be the perfect day to do a little walkthrough video to show what 1 year of progress on a homestead like this can look like. I moved in here last November and I started getting to work pretty much right away, and the past year has been filled with a lot of changes. I've changed jobs a couple times, had to spend a lot of time furnishing this house, doing minor repairs that we weren't expecting, just a lot of different changes among working full-time also, and I feel like I've also been able to accomplish a lot in that time as far as just getting this homestead to be as food productive as possible. So I just wanted to give a little run through of that today, how the food forest and the urban farm has been set up. And I wanted to talk about some things that I've learned and also get into what my plans are for the next year and what my goals are overall for this property. So let's get into it. Let's go for a little walk. So as we walk into the nursery area, you'll see that this is where I spend a lot of time doing propagation. This area has gone through many phases, but I actually am really happy with where it's at right now. I built these tables, which are a total game changer. Now I've got everything up and elevated off the ground, and it's got the proper airflow and drainage, and everything's doing very well. Been having a lot of success in here. If you're starting to get into gardening or growing a food forest, then start your own nursery. Learning how to grow things from seed and how to root cuttings and the whole process from start to finish is vital, and it'll make you a better gardener. You won't have to spend so much money on transplants. You can just grow your own, and you'll be able to collect all the cool varieties of things that you can't really find in a store or that are hard to find. And you'll be able to just multiply what you have easily and be able to share it with friends or spread it across your landscape. So a plant nursery is the way to go. It's a lot of fun. Just parallel to the nursery, this strip right here is the first area that got planted last year. As you can see, the banana has produced a rack. Very nice looking rack. And it had also produced pups, one of which has another rack forming on it. So for about 1 year, 2 racks on a stand of bananas, I think is pretty good. We composted in place around it, added a lot of mulch and organic matter and water. I think the bananas are very happy. And this papaya has also been extremely productive, making the most beautiful football-shaped papayas. Right here we've got this beautiful guava, and I'll try to get back to show you the whole thing. This thing has taken off this year. It's taller than me now. It just must be in a good spot. I've been tipping it to encourage bushing out and thickening of the trunk, and this is where I tipped it a couple months ago. And as you can see, got about 2 feet of growth, maybe more, coming back from that. So it's really amazing. This is a very happy guava tree. And some Mexican sunflower. This is a perennial Mexican sunflower, Tithonia diversifolia. Grows super fast. I grow it because it's a great chop and drop plant. It's a nutrient accumulator. You can let it grow and produce a lot of leaves and then just chop it down and use it to fertilize your other plants. Nice little star fruit tree. It's just hanging on to one of its first fruits. Over here we've got our big moringa tree, which is a tropical tree which produces edible leaves and stems and seed pods, and the root is even edible. But the nutrient content is amazing. It's got 92 nutrients and 43 antioxidants, and it can fight cancer, and it's like growing vitamins in your backyard. And this thing is so prolific. It just shoots up there, and you can harvest leaves every single day. Super easy to grow, no care required, thrives on neglect. Awesome tree to add to your food forest. I've also got some mangoes that I grafted this year. There's a big mango tree on the property, so I planted a bunch of seeds and had some successful first-time grafts. So now, as we walk towards the front yard, I just want to take a moment to show you the difference between this yard, this is my yard, and this across the street is my neighbor's yard. This is typical. This is the American lawn, turf grass, lots of chemicals, lots of irrigation, and a mow and a weed whack and edge every week. And this is the alternative, food forest. The first thing we did was remove all the grass. We dug out all the remaining grass that was here, and we put a giant load of wood chips to cover all the soil. The wood chips help the soil stay moist. This is South Florida, so our soil is very sandy and water drains through it so quickly that you need a covering on top. Wood chips are the perfect covering. They're a sponge. They hold in water, they wick it down into the soil when the soil gets too dry, and they hold onto it when there's too much moisture. This allows the worms and the millipedes and all the soil bacteria to thrive at the top level of soil. And it makes for a working system. Got a Barbados cherry, which is a nice tropical cherry full of vitamin C, delicious. We've got this plant is called Lagos spinach. It's a type of celosia that makes edible leafy greens. It's in the amaranth family, so it's related to amaranth and spinach, and right now it's going to seed. And that's going to drop seed and reseed itself all over the floor, all over the forest floor, and we will have more Lagos spinach next year. Right here, front and center, we've got a patch of bananas. This is ice cream banana. Super delicious variety. This one's growing very fast. And on the ground here, we've got a lot of sweet potatoes. They are just starting to flower, which is very good news because that means they're starting to make tubers underground. And these are a couple different varieties. Some of them are just coming up from the last harvest because I didn't get every piece out. So we've got perennial sweet potatoes. We've got a little papaya tree that I planted recently. Doing well. This is a baby sapodilla tree. It's got a little bit of cold shock. We did have a couple nights that got down into the 50s and even the high 40s, so that's to be expected, but it's no big deal. It's not going to set the tree back too much. Here's a nice pineapple top from a pineapple that I ate and just stuck the top right in the ground. It's growing beautifully. It's pretty big. We've got blue porterweed, which is an awesome native plant. It's great for the pollinators. Also in the front yard, we've got this little strip just to the left of the driveway, which has been planted up as well. We've got a Namwa banana right here, another delicious variety. We've got this passion fruit vine, which has completely taken over the fence. I mean, look how thick this thing is. It was planted less than a year ago, maybe 9 months. And this thing is going.
This section of the yard is a little bit empty. I've been changing plans on it. I wanted to expand the nursery, but now I think I'm just going to do a big sweet potato crop right here and just see how that goes for a season. But a couple interesting things we have over here. We've got some sugar cane propagating. And over here, this is longevity spinach, which is an excellent perennial tropical green that grows all year round. It's really good in salads. You can juice it, you can put it in your smoothie, you can stir fry it. This is called Brazilian spinach. Also another tropical leafy green vegetable that can take the heat, it can take the summer in Florida. And the greens are delicious. You can harvest them for salads and soups and stir fries all year round. And we are underneath the canopy of a huge mango tree. And right now, it is in full bloom. This is an early season mango. It ripens between April and about the beginning of July is when it stops. And so this tree is probably about 80 years old. This house was built in 1938, and before that the whole area was a mango grove, so I'm going to assume that. So this part of the yard is where most of the annual vegetable production takes place. I built these two raised beds out of cinder blocks. They're about 19 feet long, cut into a few sections. Here we've got some beautiful eggplants just starting to produce. Got some nice cherry tomatoes. Doing excellent on this trellis that I built. These are called mouse melons or Mexican sour gherkin. It's a native cucumber relative which makes these tiny little cucumbers, hence the name mouse melon. I haven't really gotten any harvest out of them yet. I don't know why. They've been growing super fast and then starting to die back after a certain point. So I don't know if it's just the time of year or the weather or what's going on. But we're gonna keep trying for some mouse melons because I've heard good things. A nice little salad polyculture. Bunch of onions. We've got some radishes that are ready to harvest. Some arugula in there. There's a cabbage in the middle. We've got cilantro and carrots and arugula and kohlrabi and Swiss chard in there. It's just a nice mix. Over here, the second bed, we've got some turmeric that is just starting to lay down and die out for the winter. Those leaves will go totally dormant and dry out and turn brown, and that will be the perfect time to dig up the roots. Also, if you notice, there is a vine right here growing. This is called Malabar spinach. And I meant to put another trellis right here so we could run up the trellis, but I got lazy and it just decided it was happy to run through the turmeric bed, so that's what it's doing. And amongst the tomatoes, we've got assorted greens. We've got Swiss chard, that's a cabbage, some kale, arugula, red Russian kale. So we've got this beautiful Japanese eggplant. Super productive. One of the things I'm going to be focusing on over 2019 is bananas. Trying to get more here in the landscape. It's going to be a great staple food, staple crop. You can eat them green as a starch or ripe as a fruit. And I've got some really great varieties here, so I'm trying to ramp up the banana production for the year. Got a Suriname cherry tree right here. It came with the property. But I decided to put a dragon fruit at the base, which is now happily climbing up the tree, although this is a very hard tree, so it must be a little bit more difficult for it to root into this than to, say, a pine tree, but it's doing it. We've got some more Mexican sunflowers, which are just coming back now. They were recently chopped and dropped right here at the base of this fig tree. This tree has done amazingly well this year. And then I have this bed that was just made out of yard waste, just bordered by sticks from branches that we had to cut. And this one is doing pretty well. It's got a nice assortment of mustard greens right here. Just next to the turmeric bed is something that I'm trying new this year, which is going hard on the tomatoes. Most of these are Brandywine tomatoes, and there's a couple other varieties mixed in, but they are doing excellent. This tree is a peach variety from the University of Florida, which is supposed to need a lot less chill hours than the typical varieties of peach, which means hopefully I will get some fruit producing next year. It hasn't dropped any of its leaves yet for the winter, but I have seen it grow very well throughout the summer, and this year it's really just taken off. It was just a little 3-gallon tree just earlier this year, and look how big that thing is now. So it'll be interesting to see if it fruits. Over here I've got a nice star fruit. It's a little tree and it's just starting to ripen its first couple flushes of fruit. Star fruit, if you didn't know, are such a productive tree in South Florida. Behind the star fruit we've got a nice patch of Brazilian spinach and some katuk right next to it, another tropical perennial leafy green. Next to that we've got a little patch of a raspberry variety. It's called Mysore raspberry, and this is a tropical raspberry. It's the one variety that really does well in Florida, and it's starting to hit the ground and make new raspberry canes coming up from the dirt, which I can dig up and transplant somewhere else if I want to. Damiana. It makes these awesome yellow flowers just about every morning. It's a nice native. A couple other cool little things are this tree, which is an ice cream bean tree. It's called Inga edulis, and it fixes nitrogen, first of all, because it's a legume, and it makes these bean pods, which have like a cotton candy type flesh inside them, which tastes like vanilla ice cream. That's what I've heard, and so we will wait and see. Right here you may have noticed that there is a fallen papaya. Yes, we had some windy days recently, and there were 2 papayas that came up as volunteers right there in the ground, and they got super high in just a few months. They got maybe 10 feet tall and started to produce fruit, just growing very vigorously. And then we had a strong windstorm one day, and one fell over, and then the other fell over. Got some green fruit off of it, but it was a little bit of a sad day. This little guy right here I wanted to point out. This is a sweet almond tree. It's an amazing native plant which makes these delicious smelling flowers. They seriously smell so beautiful. I wish that you could convey that through YouTube. But it's an excellent plant to have in your garden. It attracts pollinators and just is very pleasant to have around. So I'm stoked to have gotten that one in the ground recently. That's pretty much it, guys. That's most of what I wanted to highlight in this video. Just wanted to show you what I'm working with right now. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that little tour, walk around my homestead to see all I've done in the past year. I really enjoy showing people the progress that I've made and the transformation that's taken place, because this piece of land was producing no food at all before except the mango tree. That's been here, so that's a big blessing. And I just wanted to announce in this video that one of my goals for 2019 is to ramp up the production, grow more food,
And also I'm gonna be weighing all my harvests for the entire year. So from today until December 31st, at the end of the year, I'm gonna be keeping tracks, and by the end of the year, I hope to grow 1,000 pounds of food on this little plot of land. And I'm gonna be continuously making update videos and posting about this on my Instagram page. Go follow that if you don't already. It's greenhouse_homestead. So go check me out on there. I post pretty much daily and just show a little behind the scenes progress shots of what's going on here. So I'll be posting there, and I'll be making YouTube videos about once a month, hopefully, if I can get the time. And I'm gonna be keeping you updated on what I'm harvesting, how many pounds I'm getting, and if any major improvements happen to the garden or projects that I'm working on. I'll put those in there too. So follow along if you want to stay tuned for this kind of stuff, and we'll see how much food we can grow in 2019. It's going to be exciting. Thanks for watching. See you next time.